trading is based on Nobel Prize winning research. His best-selling book, Preparing to Manage Millions, bridges the desire for financial greatness and a plan for achieving it with a step-by-step guide to managing your personal finances. He's been featured in the Huffington Post, Chicago Tribune, and has spoken at many universities across the country, including Georgetown and Harvard. Here to present how to secure $1 million in funded trading capital is Mr. Marcus Howard of Tradechology. Welcome back to Traders Corner, Marcus.
Thank you so much. You can hear me just fine and you can see my screen?
I can hear you absolutely fine. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just great. All right, beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and rock and roll. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction here. Let me just pull up the chat briefly so I can see any questions that come up so I can answer them as they're going through the presentation. I see several of my clients and students here in there, so I want to give a quick shout out to, I see Ajamu's here, Anthony Nero's here, I see Kathy's here, Darius, I see you as well. Good to see you, brother. Miss McMorris, I see you here. Let's see who else is. If I miss you, I'm sorry. It's kind of hard to scroll with this feature here. I see Malika's here, Manny is here, Michael is here, Nye Jordan, good to see you as well. And then Simone, as usual. So a big shout out to all of the folks that are here from Tradechology that have taken the time to come to this presentation. A lot of these folks are already my clients and they're in my premium program, but they still come to summits like this just because the content is good and they are just great supporters of what I do ultimately. So let's go ahead and dive in and talk about what we're going to be covering today. So in our $1 million workshop, I'm going to be talking to you about my $1 million funded account cheat sheet. So what is the process that you can go through? What is the process that you can use to not only secure funded capital, meaning using someone else's money or another institution's money to be able to grow your net worth, but how to actually elevate to the point where you can get to $1 million in capital, which then makes all of your income goals so much easier. So I want to share that cheat sheet with you exactly on how you can start this process. Then I'll go into my top 3 reasons why traders lose their funded accounts. I think this area will be pretty revealing for a lot of traders, but then I don't just want to talk about it. I also want to give you some top tips that you can use to keep your funded accounts for the long term. Because what's the point of us working to get you $1 million in funded accounts if you lose them in the first week? So we don't want you to just have them. We want you to keep them long enough for you to be able to get the payouts so that you can turn this into a full-time income, where if you want to be a full-time trader, you can. If you want to quit your job, you can. Or even if you just want to take a couple of hours during the trading day to supplement your income, you can do that same thing as well. So we're definitely going to cover that. And then at the end, I'm just going to go over a couple of case studies from students. A couple of them are actually in the audience today in this presentation. So I'm sure they'll be excited to see their names and their results here in this particular presentation. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's just do a quick risk disclosure to get it out the way. I nor MLH Capital, which is the parent company of Tradechology, we are not financial advisors or broker dealers. Any examples that I'm using here should be used for illustrative and educational purposes only. Please do not take what I'm doing or what I'm showing you here and then go out and just do it in your brokerage account, risk the maximum number of contracts. Say Marcus said I was going to make a whole bunch of money and then end up losing money. Okay, so these are just for example purposes only. All these trades are in the past. Investment carries risk, so please be smart about what you do. So let's go ahead and just talk a little bit about me, because although we do have some people here who know me, for most of you I am brand new. You have no idea who I am or what I'm about. So I'm Marcus. Full name is Marcus Howard, based in downtown Chicago, about maybe 5 or 6 blocks from CME and the Chicago Stock Exchange. So really excited to be able to move, Southside kid, to be able to move downtown. It's been a lot of fun. I am a hedge fund manager and author and founder of Tradechology, which is a coaching company that focuses on trading psychology to help traders to get past the mental and the emotional barriers that are keeping them from consistent profitability. A little bit about how I got consistent in terms of my story of how I've been able to take this trading that I do full time. I started in about 2017. I've been trading stocks for the better part of a decade, but like when I really got serious about trading was about 2017, where I took a $25,000 paper money account on Nadex, which is the North American Derivatives Exchange. It's a binary options exchange. It's a pretty simple way to do options, but in 18 months, I grew that account to over $13 million. It took me maybe about a year to get it to $1 million. And then in the next 6 months, I grew it to 13 million. And then from there, I took $5,000 of my own money, because the paper account is one thing, but your actual money is another. So I took $5,000 of my own money, put it in an 8X account, and have been just pretty much going full tilt ever since. So from 2017 to now, I went from $5,000 in a brokerage account to running a hedge fund. And a lot of people ask me, well, how do you make that sort of success in 5 years? And I'm really telling you, it's the psychology side of things. It's not about your entries and exits, although they are important. It is everything else around your psychology, your emotional management, your discipline that's really going to truly make the difference. And so that's what I decided to focus on when I had an opportunity to be able to expose the things that I was able to do to be successful as a successful trader. So I enjoy helping traders discover and overcome the #1 obstacle keeping them from consistent profitability or multiplying their returns. My challenges and courses have helped several thousand traders at this point. In my particular courses, my coaching programs are a lot smaller, but thousands of traders at this point to transform their psychology, and it's all based on Nobel Prize winning research. So this isn't something that I've created in my basement. This is something that I have licensed from institutions that are doing this at the highest level. So I've got a lot of these tools that I'm using for trading psychology from consulting companies that work with Fortune 100 companies, Fortune 50 companies, high growth startups, these sorts of things. And I was just smart enough when I was doing that consulting work to keep those relationships with those companies, where in a lot of instances, you have to even be behind an NDA to know that that sort of information existed or these sorts of technologies existed. So kept those same relationships, used them in my own personal life, but now are able to use them in my own company now with Tradechology and with my hedge fund to help us to be able to maximize growth. So the picture you see here is just me doing a Pix 11 news interview. That's Pix 11 in New York. This is about a few months back. We talked a lot about, how to save money at the end of the year, how to do proper investing, how to maximize your money. The coolest part about it, though, was that they did a shout out of my book, which I thought was really nice, because I was 19 years old when I wrote this book. I was a freshman moving to a sophomore in college. I'm 36 years old now. So to say that 17 years later, this book is still being sold on Amazon, it's still being featured on the news, it's still helping people out. It's just been a true privilege for me in my life that I've been able to write something so young that is still impacting people today. All right, so enough about me. Let's dive into how this will help you and who this will help most, okay? So this will help you. This particular presentation that I'm doing right now will help you if you struggle with passing evaluations. Again, my methodology is that I really love when I'm doing these sorts of presentations to give you actionable things that you can use. I don't use a lot of fluff and I don't do a lot of sales talk. I genuinely provide hard-hitting content that you can walk away with to be able to do actionable things. So if you struggle with passing evaluations, this is going to help you out a lot. This will also help you if you struggle with keeping funded accounts. So if you've gone this route, you've had a funded account, you've lost it in the first week, or you've lost it before your first payout, this is really going to help you to make a huge difference. This will help you if you struggle with establishing or sticking to your A+ trading setups. And it will also help you if you struggle with discipline, over trading, and other trading issues. So a lot of what we cover is psychology based. So if you're having trading psychology issues, I really think that you're going to enjoy this presentation. And even if you feel that some of this doesn't apply to you, please stick around during this presentation, because I am sure there are 1 or 2 golden nuggets that you will take from this that if you genuinely apply it can help you to transform your trading. That is my goal today. I know that in most cases, I only have an opportunity to talk to each person here one time. So with my one opportunity, I am trying to give you something that can genuinely transform your trading if you apply it. I do a lot of work to make sure that my presentations provide that much value. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let's talk a little bit first about some perspective on getting funding. And I think for a lot of people, if you aren't familiar with the funded account space or how this all works, some of these statistics may be eye-opening to you. So I got this data directly from one of the funding account companies. I'm not really sure if they've given me full permission to use the company's name, so I won't. But I will give you the stats in terms of what is the likelihood that people that were going through that particular combine, how likely were they to actually pass the combine and make money? So and this is just for a particular month. So in one particular month, they had 5,718 new people apply, meaning that they went and took a trading combine, not total combines. These are 5,718 individual people. Of that, only 10% of them passed phase 1. So think about that. Of 5,000 people, almost 6,000 people, only 10% ever passed. So that number instantly goes down to 572 people. But then this particular funded account program they're talking about had 2 phases. So you had to do this part twice. And for the number of people that actually got it twice, that number reduced now to 24% of the 10% that had passed it in the first place. So now we've gone all the way down from 5,718 people that thought they were going to have a funded account to only 137 that actually got a funded account. And so here's the most interesting question. How many people do you think, and for those that are in my course, don't spoil the ending here, but how many people of this 137 that actually got funded do you think actually were able to stay and keep their accounts long enough to be able to make money? 4. Only 4 people out of 5,718 people that applied to get some of these funded accounts actually made money. That is 7/1000ths of 1%. Okay. This is why presentations like this are important. Getting and keeping a funded account is hard on purpose, okay? They make these things hard because 1, they want you to demonstrate that you are able to trade consistently, but then 2, they just simply don't want to give money to thousands of people and then have them ultimately be able to blow it. They're trying to run a business, they're trying to be profitable, they're looking for serious traders. So these exams are hard on purpose, but let me take the rest of this presentation to show you how you can make it easier. All right, so that's what we're going to do for the rest of this time. And let's dive in. So let's start with the $1 million funded account cheat sheet. I'm going to go into the 4 main pillars of what goes into the cheat sheet, and then I'm going to go into each one in detail for you. So when it comes to your funded accounts, okay, it's not about how much money you make, but it's about how much money you lose per trade that makes the difference. If you can just develop your risk profile based around mitigating losses, the profits will take care of themselves. And so I'm going to go into detail on how you can go ahead and do that. Number 2, multiple funded accounts is always going to be better than one large funded account. And I'll explain to you exactly why. I'll even show you a calculator so that you can see why it makes more sense to have multiple accounts and not just one single account. The most popular instruments also aren't always the most profitable. If you look on YouTube, if you look on Facebook, if you look on Twitter, and you're in the future space, everybody's talking about ES. Everybody is talking about NQ. But that may not be the most profitable instrument just for the normal everyday retail trader. There are other futures instruments that you can trade that usually move a lot more predictably and can get you a lot more consistent money. But if you're listening to the guys online that are telling you NQ is the way to go because it can move 100 points in 5 minutes, then you're truly missing out on a lot of great opportunities to be able to make some consistent money in the marketplace. And I'll show you several examples, not only from traders that are doing that, but even in my own trading, how I've been able to do that as well. And then the last part we'll get into is that discipline and psychology is paramount. If you don't have your discipline in place, and if you don't get a handle on your trading psychology, all of this will be for naught. I can show you right now a strategy, and I will show you a strategy that has a 70+% win rate. But that means nothing if you don't have the discipline to stick to it, okay? So entries and exits are one thing, but discipline and psychology is another. So we want to make sure that you're focusing on the psychology of things because that will keep you in the game for the long run. So let's dive into each one of these points in this cheat sheet in detail. The first point, it's not about how much money you make, but it's how much you lose per trade that makes the biggest difference when we're talking about these funded accounts. Trading exams are hard because the win-loss ratio is typically not proportional. So what do I mean by this? In most cases, you can only lose half as much as you need to make. So I'll show you an example from Apex Trader Funding because John Skelton, he's going to be presenting maybe in like an hour or so. So he's going to come after me. He's going to be talking all about the benefits of using Apex Trader Funding. I've used Apex Trader Funding. I think what they do there is great. They provide great opportunities. But in most cases, if you look at the ratios in terms of how much you have to make versus how much you can lose, it's typically about half as much. If you want to try to get a $100,000 funded account today, you would have to make $6,000, but you couldn't lose $3,000. So you would have to go up 6% without losing 3% of it. And so in most cases, what traders do is they put their risk together to try to get to the 6%, but they don't truly recognize that with the amount of risk that they're putting on, it's so much easier. It's actually twice as easy, okay, to hit the drawdown limit of $3,000. And so they just simply end up blowing their account. Another thing that typically happens when you're going for a funding account is that trailing drawdowns eat away at your profits if you choose to trail. So if you're someone that doesn't do funded accounts and you don't know what a trailing drawdown is, basically a trailing drawdown means that if you're in a trade and let's say your loss limit or your drawdown limit is $3,000, that $3,000 goes up based on your unrealized profit, not your realized profit. So if you go up $500 and then you exit the trade back at break even, well, your loss limit has now gone up $500. So you can no longer lose 3,000. Now you can only lose 2,500. So with a trailing drawdown, a lot of times traders are entering into trades where they're trying to trail to get the most amount of money that they can get on any individual move. But typically when you do that and then you give money back to the market, you have less money that you can lose on the next trade. And so you'll find that you're still in profit, but you've lost a couple of trades in a row and now your account is closed and you don't really understand why. Like I've been making money. Why is my account closed? And it's typically because they're not paying attention to this trailing drawdown. So trailing drawdown is a big thing that eats away at your profits. So again, it's about having your risk profile based around how much you can lose, because if you can do that part, the profit takes care of itself. Please design your risk profile around your loss limit and not the profit goal. And I will show you how you're ultimately able to do that. But let's go ahead and jump on. So here again, in this funded account example, I just want to be able to provide a graphic for you so that you can see it. This is directly from the Apex Trader Funding's website. I pulled this up last night when I was working on the presentation. Again, your profit goal, you have to make $6,000 for an $100,000 account. So you have to go up 6%, but you can only lose 3. And most people put on the contract size to make this $6,000, not recognizing that it's so much easier when you put on more risk to lose $3,000. Sometimes in just 1, 2, maybe even 3 trades will get you in a lot of trouble. And as you move to some of the more expensive ones, like 150,000 or even 250,000, notice that you have to make 15,000, but you can only lose 6,500. That's not even half. So you have to be really conscious of these things and make sure that you're paying attention to how much you can afford to lose and not necessarily how much you can make. All right. So that then leads to the second point, or the second pillar in our funded account cheat sheet, which is all about how multiple funded accounts is better than one large funded account. So why is this important for you? Multiple funded accounts allow you to multiply your earnings, meaning that if we were going this strategy of getting you $1 million in funded accounts, what we're saying is now you will have 10 $100,000 accounts. So for each winning trade that you make in that one account, it now gets multiplied by 10. So you've got 10 $100,000 accounts. If you make $500 in that one account and you use a trade copier, you now multiply that times 10. You're not up $500. You're up $5,000 on this day. And making $5,000 for most traders is a good day. It's a great day for me. And we do those sorts of things all the time. I'll show you examples from traders that are doing that right now. The number one account killer is going to be too much risk per trade per account. I'll say that one more time because this is really important. The number one account killer is too much risk per trade per account. Multiple accounts, what we do is it allows you to spread the risk across several different accounts. So in that example that we said before, you have 10 funded accounts, you go up $500 on the day. You've made $5,000. Wonderful. Now, let's say you take a $500 loss across all of those accounts. Full transparency, that's still $5,000 in losses that you're taking, but those $5,000 in loss now has been spread across 10 accounts so that you only lost $500 per account. If you were to try to do that same risk in one single account and you take that single $5,000 loss, I don't care even if you have a $250,000 account, you're pretty much going to close your account. So the idea is that we want to be able to multiply our earnings, but distribute our risk, our losses across several accounts so that you can always trade again tomorrow. That is our thesis here at Tradechology. You always want to be able to put yourself in a position where you trade again tomorrow. No single action that you should take as a trader should lead to your account being closed and can erase sometimes weeks, if not months worth of work that is taking you to be able to qualify for some of these accounts. So here at Tradechology, we put so many automations in place in terms of not just the loss limit that the funded provider provides, but we put our own loss limit into what we do. And so if you're using Rhythmic or Rhythmic Pro, which is what most of the funded accounts providers do in futures, like we set our own loss limit inside of there, again, because we always want to make sure that we put ourselves in a position where we can trade again tomorrow. No one single mistake should blow up months of work that we've been putting in. So here I just want to show, again, because we're talking about multiple funded accounts is better than one large funded account, I just want to just do a quick snapshot of just some traders that have qualify for multiple accounts. You see, I think Simone is even here in the room. Like those are 4 of Simone's accounts that are here. There are several other traders that have been able to do the same thing. But one of the things that I want to point out is just notice that most of these traders get multiple funded accounts. Sometimes they qualify for multiple funded accounts at once with the way that we teach it. And so that's the important piece of the puzzle. It's fine to have 1, but if you can have 10, what kind of difference would that make for you as a trader? And let me give you that direct example. So what I'll do here is I'll full screen this and I'll make this larger. So what I'm showing you here is a funded account strategy calculator that I've put together for my trading clients so that they understand how they can get to whatever their income goal is. In most cases, traders come to me because they're looking to replace their income. So we're talking $10,000 a month, $15,000 or $20,000 a month. In fact, what I will do for folks, right, just so I can provide some value. So in the chat, I've dropped the link to this Google document. You can feel free to look at it, but more importantly, feel free to make a copy in your own Google Drive so that you can use this calculator for yourself to be able to learn how to calculate your own income goals. So I won't go into too much crazy detail with this, but here's what I ultimately want to be able to show you with what's going on with this calculator. So what I'm assuming here on this calculator is that we have the 10 funded accounts. So that can be 10 $50,000 accounts, it can be 10 $100,000 accounts, but essentially we're saying you've got 10 funded accounts. And with that, what is the process that you have to go through in order to be able to hit your income goal? So for this, I'm just going to use a round number of $10,000 per month. And we break our different futures instruments down into tiers. So tier 1 is typically the bonds or silver futures. It's any instrument that pretty much gives you like $25 or more per tick. Tier 2 would be the ES of the world, that's $12.50, or crude oil or gold, anywhere between $10 to $15 per tick is tier 2. And then tier 3 would be most of the indices. So RTY, NQ, YM, all the ones that are $5 to $6.25 or between $5 to $10 per tick. In most instances, when we want to qualify for funded accounts, it's pretty easy for us to do so if we just focus on the tier 1 instruments, because we can do $25, $31.25 per tick. But I know a lot of folks love to trade the indices, and we have several strategies that show folks how to trade the indices. But here's what I want to show you, though. More than whichever instrument you decide to choose, is I want you to focus on this column here, which is the net profitable trades. Here's what this is showing you. With 10 accounts, okay, if you were to just risk, let's say, even 2 contracts, whether it's tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3, we never allow you in our group to risk more than 10% of your available drawdown, not the account limit, but the available drawdown. So that means in most of the $100,000 accounts, you can only lose $3,000 anyway. So our risk usually is around $200 to $300. Now, in this case, if you're trading 2 contracts, it's a little bit more than 10%, but what ends up happening is, because we have 10 accounts, if you won 1 trade, okay, with the fees, you're up $3,000. You're not just up $317. So if you were to try to make $10,000 per month, you only need to be net positive 3.3 trades per month. So understand what I'm saying. Net positive doesn't mean you just win 3 trades. That means, let's say you've taken 10 trades, okay, if you won, what is that? That's going to be a bad example. So let's say if you won 4 and you've lost 1, okay, you're net positive 3 trades. That's what we're saying. So you have to go up that many number of trades to hit this income goal. But even still, with 10 accounts, you need to be net positive 3 trades if you're trading the bonds. If you're trading simply 2 contracts, so again, you're still within your risk profile of 10% of your available drawdown to make $10,000, you need to go up 4 trades per month, not per day, not per week, per month. And even if you go all the way down to the $5 per tick regular indices to make $10,000 a month, you still need to go up 5 trades per month. That is the power of being able to leverage multiple funded accounts. When you have 1 funded account, it's going to be a lot harder for you to get to that goal. For example, I'll change this from 10 to 1, and notice that if you only have 1 account and you're doing the same thing, you have to win 52 trades in order to get to $10,000. But if you took it back to 10, it's just 5 trades that you have to go up per month. So this is the power of being able to leverage multiple funded accounts to be able to hit your income goals. If you do nothing else, okay, if you just take and adopt the strategy that if I can get 1 account, I can get a bunch of accounts. So let me try to get 5 accounts. Let me try to get 10 accounts. And being able to get 10 accounts will make all of this so much easier for you. You don't have to put so much risk on any individual account in order to get to where you're trying to go. In almost all instances, most of the folks at Tradechology, we simply trade 2 contracts. Me, as a person that runs a hedge fund, the maximum that I trade is 5 contracts per account. Okay, I don't do 20 contracts. I don't do 30 contracts per account. It just doesn't make sense with the way that the risk is set up in terms of how much you can lose with each one of these funded accounts. If you keep your risk small, but multiply your earnings across multiple funded accounts, you'll forever be in good shape and you'll always be in a position where you can trade again tomorrow. So I'm not going to beat a dead horse on that. Let me just go back to our presentation and keep rocking and rolling. But again, the link for you all is already in the chat box for you. Feel free to, again, make a copy on your own Google Drive and use that calculator. I'm telling you, it will do a lot to help you with your trading. All right, so let's move on now. I don't remember if this is my 3rd or my 4th pillar, but popular instruments aren't always the most profitable, okay? Futures is more than just NQ and ES. If you listen to the folks online, you would think that that's all trading is about, and that's the only way that you're ultimately able to make money, but I assure you that is not true. The most popular instruments are almost always traded by high-frequency trading bots. So if you don't have some sort of automated trading system, and make sure you pay attention to Mark, he's the closer at this event today, where he's talking about Right Line System and how they use automated trading to do the sorts of things that they do. I love Right Line System. I highly recommend their system. But if you don't have some sort of system where you can use some sort of algorithmic trading and you're just an individual operator taking discretionary trades on your own, in most instances, you're going to get killed by these high frequency trading bots. Especially with NQ, it just simply moves too fast and it's way too volatile. So what you want to do is you want to use instruments that are still traded by humans because they move much more predictably. They move slower. They move when they get to certain zones, they pause for a second and they decide what they're going to do next. It gives you a lot more time to be able to make proper decisions in terms of the trading that you want to do. My first 100K that I made as a trader was trading RTY. Everybody was telling me ES was the way to go, NQ was the way to go, but I was like, but RTY is working for me. I think I'm just going to stick with it. And I didn't listen to conventional wisdom and I stuck with RTY, and man, did RTY end up being, I've still got an ongoing love affair, if I'm being completely honest with you, with RTY. One of the strategies that I share with folks that are in my funded capital program, I show them an RTY strategy that has a 70+% win rate, meaning that it wins 70% of the time, and the probability that you're going to actually pass one of these combines is actually extremely high when you have a 70+% win rate. In fact, when I'm doing interviews or when I'm put on the spot saying, can you actually trade? Can you show me and demonstrate that you'll actually be able to pass these combines if I work with you? I typically go to this RTY setup, either automated or in a discretionary basis, and I'm able to pass these things for fun at this point. Like, it's not even that difficult for me to pass these trading combines anymore, simply because I have strategies that are based on institutional order flow, that are based on the right fundamentals when it comes to trading, and it genuinely does work. So I just want to show you a case in point, just to show you receipts, just to prove that I'm not lying to you, right? So I'm going to just show quickly this YouTube video where I'm not going to show the whole thing. I'm maybe just going to show like the last 20 or 30 seconds of when I actually go and qualify for this account. But this is me using an automated, so I'm not even clicking the buttons. This is an automated RTY strategy that I'm using to qualify for a $100,000 trading account, meaning that I have to make 6,000 before I lose 3,000 of it. I think you come in at the point where it's about maybe 4,000, 4,800, somewhere around there that it's making. And then the auto trader gets into a series of popular trades that basically takes me over the edge. So I'll go ahead and start that for you guys. And then while that's going, I apologize if this is slightly small for you guys, but I put the P&L down at the bottom of the screen so you can see it. And then boom, I'll just stop it there because again, this is a 17-minute long video, but I just wanted to show you the proof. Now, again, this is in playback and this is me doing the things with the auto trading system because it's hard to show, 14, 15 trades that you take over 3 days in a small presentation. So I was able to do this in playback. But what I can do for you all, and what I will do just to ensure you that I am not full of crap, is I will drop the link to this exact YouTube video also in the chat. So don't go watch it now, continue to watch this presentation, but that will be the proof of you actually seeing me go through this process to use an automated trading system to qualify for these accounts where I press one button and I was able to qualify with a 70% plus, okay, win rate. So this is very possible to do, and it's not with NQ or ES. It's with something as small and as asinine as RTY, right? The Russell 2000. So I want to be able to show you guys that. All right, so let me just move on. Here, I also want to give you examples from traders that are using this exact strategy. So this automated RTY strategy that I just showed you, that I was able to pass a combine, Here's a trader. So you don't have to take my word for it. Here are traders that are in my group that are doing this. So Adam came to me maybe about a month or so ago. He was a trader without a solid strategy. I won't put all of his business out there, but had a brokerage account, was losing a whole bunch of money in his brokerage account, was trying to figure out how to turn things around, and with the funded account route. Okay. So he was struggling also with over trading. Like that was the big issue that he was going through. And the reason why he worked with us is because we have the tools on a psychological basis to help you to get over things like over trading. It's not a hard thing for us to help you to get over because we have the tools and the technology to be able to get you over it quickly. Sometimes in as little as a sleep cycle. So the next day you're fine, but typically in about a week, you're pretty much okay. He implemented this RTY strategy, meaning he clicked the button and turned it on. He wasn't taking the trades himself. And in less than 30 days, he's about to qualify for $500,000 in funded trading capital. Notice these are 10 Bullinox accounts, and he's making $1,000 per account. Okay, he's only about $1,000 away. He sent me a link this morning where he made up maybe another $200 or so. So he's about $800 away from passing all of these combines for himself, right? And okay, he's not passed yet, but he's doing it. So like, what about some of the other folks? Okay, so here's some results from the folks in our Discord channel. So Chris was a Forex trader that switched over to futures. This screenshot, oh, well, you can't see it because they can only do questions. But like the people that are here from my group can vouch for you that this is from our Discord as early as like, I think this was Tuesday that I took this from. Okay, so Chris implemented the same strategy I'm talking about, RTY, and he went up $1,000 in a single day. Johnny, who's also been working with us for maybe 4 to 6 weeks, I think now, has qualified for 3 funded trading accounts using this exact strategy that I'm talking about. And there's the proof. He's showing you the picture from his actual Rhythmic account saying he qualified for this account. And then the next day, so once he got the funded account, the next day he was still using that RTY strategy, okay, and was able to go up $900 in one account, $900 in the second account, and $1,800 in the third account. Okay, so this, what I'm talking about for you, genuinely works, but it's not just about the strategy to get the better entries and exits. I worked with both of these people diligently on fixing the issues related to their psychology. With Adam, it was overtrading was his thing. With Johnny, he came to me as an options trader. So the way that you trade options is not the same way that you need to trade futures. And he was applying an options related strategy to his futures, trying to figure out why he was losing money all the time. And so in just doing a couple of psychological exercises with him, I was able to show him how he can apply the right methodology to futures to be able to turn everything around. And so that's what he's been able to do. We spent a lot of time on fixing his risk profile and different things like that. He's been able to make some great results. And I'm really excited for those two, but those are just 2 examples of people, of dozens of traders that are making these same sorts of strides in our particular trading group right now. So our last and final pillar is that discipline and psychology, okay, is going to be paramount to what you're doing. Tom Baso, hedge fund manager, I think he closed this hedge fund a couple of years back though. It says, I think investment psychology is by far the most important element, followed by risk control, with the least important consideration being the questions of where you buy and sell. Again, psychology is going to be the thing that makes the hugest difference for you. And if you don't have a mentor or a coach or some tools to help you to change the way you behave in the first place, you're always going to be fighting an uphill battle in terms of how you're able to make money consistently in the markets. Entries and exits are cool. Gaps are cool. RTY strategies are cool. But what's between your 2 ears is going to be the thing that's going to make you wealthy. So we have to fix that part of the equation. Discipline and psychology is paramount because you have to understand this one piece of it. We do not live in the real world, okay? We live in the model that we create about the world. So what you live in is truth with a small lowercase t, not a capital truth. We function our lives inside the limitations of the model of our own making. Again, you are creating your own lowercase t truth about what you think is possible for you. But I would argue with you here that any belief, any habit, any pattern of behavior that you have can genuinely be changed for the better. But right now, because it's your pattern, you believe that it's just who you are, but you're not an overtrader. You're not someone that experiences analysis paralysis. You're not a weak trader. These are just thoughts and beliefs that you have about yourself, all of which can be changed when you have the right tools, okay? Every piece of information that you encounter in your life is stored by your other than conscious mind, but the critical factor of your mind determines how much weight that information is given, and then it updates that model of reality for you. So listen, this is the truth. There is no amount of conscious chart reading, books, seminars, back testing, or anything that you can do that will change the deeper part of you, your other than conscious mind, which is truly in control of your trading. What you need to understand, okay, is that that deeper part of you, the part that's in control of your heart rate, your digestion, your autonomic nervous system, that thing is the thing that's genuinely in control of your trading. And so you can be looking at the charts and you'll go, why am I doing this? I know I shouldn't be doing this. Why am I getting back into this trade? It's because you're not the one that's in control of the trading in the first place. Okay. So what you need to do is you must give instructions to your other than conscious mind in a way that it quickly and readily accepts. That's the only way that you're going to be able to shift these things to be more consistent. So to change these beliefs and these habits, you can either have a direct experience of it occurring in your life, or can use technologies, many of the technologies we include here at Tradechology, to bypass that critical factor of the mind, where you're no longer using willpower to try to change your behavior. Your behavior just simply changes. It's a weird thing to say to the conscious mind because a lot of times you haven't had experiences with this happening and you don't believe it to be true. But the best example I can give you is, do you remember the first time you touched something hot? It didn't take you 2 times to go, I probably shouldn't touch that anymore. That's essentially the way this works. It's bypassing all of the other critical factor of the mind stuff to go, wait a minute, I shouldn't do this anymore, or I should do this better. And then the habit just changes. Okay. So that's what we want to be able to get you to, not to have to use willpower, but to really ultimately make this work. Okay. I've got just about 10 minutes or so left. So let me jump into the top 3 reasons why traders lose their accounts. Forgive me if I go a little bit quickly through this, but this presentation is about 45 minutes long, and I'm really trying to pack in all the information to give you the stuff that you need to be able to move forward. So reason number 1, okay, for why you lose your funded accounts is simply contract size. That is the number 1 contributor to you losing your funded accounts. Funded accounts are more about your drawdown, okay, than the profit potential in the beginning. I know you're trying to make $10,000. I understand that, believe me. But if you try to make $10,000 by risking 5, 6, 7, 10 contracts on any individual account, you're going to lose the account. I guarantee you. I talk to hundreds of traders a week. I see it happen all the time. You need to be able to reduce your contract size. That's the only thing that's going to keep you in the game. Large losses in most instances lead to a dangerous cycle of triggering the emotional desire to enter back into the market. Listen to what I'm saying. It's not one trade that typically takes you out and makes you lose your account. It's the one trade that you take that leads to losses you're more comfortable with. You're less comfortable with, that then leads you to go back into the market doing a suboptimal trade. So it starts this perpetual cycle. It starts this emotional cycle where then you're looking at yourself like, I know I shouldn't have done that, but you do it anyway. Okay. Contract size is the number 1 thing. If you just reduce your contract size, you'll be in much better shape. Okay. It drastically reduces your anxiety and your analysis paralysis. Reason number 2 is going to be system confidence. System confidence comes into play when you feel you aren't completely confident in your trading system. Okay. You've learned in most cases anecdotally that your system works, either from a mentor or you've tried on your own, but you haven't been able to back test it enough. And so you only have anecdotal evidence that it's working, but then you feel your analysis is right, but you've lost trades in the past that lead you now to question your analysis. And that's when things come up like, man, these guys are always hunting my stops. Why is it that my trades always go against me? These sorts of ideas sit in your memories, and when you are about to enter into a trade, those things get called up and you begin to think what will go wrong as opposed to what will go right. Okay, so we need to have you at the very least being agnostic, whether it goes right or wrong. Either way, it's okay. But if we have you go in thinking that things are going to go wrong, then you're only going to be able to confirm that with your actual trade management. This will lead you to analyzing your future trade decisions with a negative slant. Again, you enter into a trade, it goes against you. See, I knew it was going to go against me. And a lot of times you probably could have made some money on the trade, but you were doing something where you're convinced that you're going to lose money. And then the trade management side, the psychology side of things, it confirms it, that you're actually going to be able to lose money. So we want to be able to stop those things. And the big thing that you can do if we're talking about systems confidence is to think in terms of individual trade outcomes versus a series of trades. So what do I mean by this? Most traders, especially if they don't have confidence in their system, are looking for one trade that's going to get them the 100-point move or whatever it is that they're trying to do, okay, which is going to give them money. But before I started Tradechology, I interviewed maybe $100 million traders for a podcast that I was a part of. Almost all of them thought in terms of series of trades, meaning that I don't know what's going to happen in the next trade, but over the next 50 trades or the next 100 trades, my testing, my math, and my stats have shown me that I'll make about this much money. And so any individual trade outcome doesn't make that much of a difference to them because they trust their numbers, they've tested their numbers, they know their numbers code. And so they're thinking in terms of a series of trades versus this next trade is going to be the thing that's going to make it for me. Because you can be wrong. And what if that time when you were sure that that gap was right, you were sure that it was going to hit this resistance point and turn around, and then it blows through it. What happens? You put on too much risk, your account is closed. Happens all the time. So don't put on too much risk in any individual trade. Think over the next 10 trades, 20 trades, 50 trades, what that's going to do for you. All right, the last one is that the main reason that people blow up their funded accounts is an emotional trigger after a loss, okay? Most traders, and this is so true, and if you can change this part as well, this will help you out so much. They set an arbitrary amount of money that they're looking to make per day or per trade. When I'm doing interviews for people that have filled out an application to work with me, almost always I hear one of two answers. I'm either trying to make $500 a day or $1,000 a day. But again, when I interviewed these $1 million traders, none of them had a daily profit goal. Do you know why? Because you don't make money every day as a trader. So for you to have the idea in your mind that I can make money every single day, you are putting yourself in a position to be absolutely behind the 8 ball. Because what happens if you lose your first trade? Okay, so now you're trying to make 500 a day, you're trying to make $1,000 a day, but you went down 300 bucks. Now, again, you're starting this emotional cycle to now take suboptimal trades to be able to get that money back. But in most cases, you don't do it. So if you just stick to, I just want to be net profitable this many trades, because that's going to ultimately help me to get to where I'm trying to go, and keep your risk small, you'll be in pretty good shape. All right, so those are the top 3 reasons. I've got maybe about 7 minutes left. I want to take just a couple minutes to just talk about some opportunities, but still, here are some tips, okay, to save your funded accounts. If you just try these things, if you just do these things, you'll be in much better shape. So number 1 is, please reduce your contract size. If you do nothing else, just simply reducing your contract size with these funded accounts and not try to scale it to the moon, you'll be okay. You'll always be in a position to trade again tomorrow. Stop trading for the day. Also, if you lose 3 trades in a row, okay, sometimes it's not your day. That's perfectly okay. In days like this, where the market's moving, it's chopping, it's moving around all crazy, it went up and went down. If you're losing trades, it's okay. It's just not your day. But it's not okay for you as a trader to continue trading when it has been proven that it's not your day. Because I've looked at hundreds of traders, individual performance accounts inside a NinjaTrader, and usually after every huge down day, they make their money back the next day, or they make money the next day. So if you would have just stopped trading that day, you could have mitigated all those losses you could have took, and the next day you would have been fine. So if you just are discovering that it's not your day, just simply stop trading, please. All right. Spend more time back and forth testing your trading setup. This is going to be a really good piece of the puzzle. And then also use trading psychology exercises to reduce anxiety, fear of missing out with your different trade setups. You also want to use trading psychology exercises to install more patience in your trading. So again, I don't have enough time to go through the specific exercises, but what I'm thinking also with this Traders Corner group, like they may at the end provide us the opportunity to be able to reach out to you all again. If that is the case, I want to be able to send some of you guys my 5-day challenge free of charge, meaning just go through that, and that's going to do a lot to help you with your anxiety, your fear of missing out, and be able to install more patience in your trading. It won't fix your trading issues, let me be completely honest about that, but it will do a lot, okay, to help you to have more patience, to reduce some anxiety, so that when you sit down to trade, you can actually be able to make some smarter trading decisions. So I do want to be able to provide that to you. And just the last thing that I would say about this is, please reduce your contract size. I put it in here twice because it is so important. Simply reducing your contract size will do a lot to help you as a trader. All right, so now I got just about 2 or 3 minutes left. For those that may be interested, they heard this presentation, they say, Marcus is a pretty cool guy. How can I possibly work with him? I want to be able to give you that sort of content, that sort of information, so you can see ultimately how all of this works. So what are the benefits of being able to work with a company like us as opposed to going ahead and trying to do it yourself? So the first and foremost thing is, with Tradechology, we have $1 million funded account guarantee. What does that mean? That means that we guarantee that when you work with us over 12 weeks, we will get you to $1 million in funded accounts. And if we don't, we will continue to work with you free of charge until we do. For us, it's about the goal. We want to get you to the goal that you're trying to get to. It doesn't matter the amount of time that it takes, because for some traders, it takes longer than simply 12 weeks. But for others, it doesn't. You saw a couple of guys, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, they're able to get these accounts. But our guarantee is that we will get you there in 12 weeks or continue to work with you for free. In doing that, we will spend a paramount amount of time helping you to fix your trading issues. We will help you to master your trading psychology. We'll help you to establish discipline and stick to your take profit and your stop loss goals. We will help you to establish discipline to stick to your A+ setups. If you don't have A+ setups, we will help you to establish one. I just showed you our RTY setup that wins 70% of the time. I'm happy to share those sorts of setups with you so that you're able to have some things that can get you consistent money in the marketplace. But let's talk briefly just about what's included in the program, because I've only got like a minute or two left. So again, you'll get our $1 million funded account checklist, which helps you to establish a combine optimized risk profile. So not just any risk profile, but one that's specifically designed to pass these combines. We'll show you how to back test and optimize a quantifiable edge, because if you can't test your system, I would argue you don't have a system. So we're going to show you how to test that system so that you know that you have a quantifiable edge. We'll provide you a proven combine strategy with a 70+% pass rate. We'll also give you a trading psychology or psychology-based goal achievement protocol verified by MIT, ladies and gentlemen, to have a 90% plus success rate. So again, not something I created in my basement. These are all things that have been proven to help people independent of me. And then our behavior change protocols that are truly based on Nobel Prize winning research, as well as our trading psychology mastery course, and then our stop over trading and revenge trading for good. So with that, you get a dedicated trading coach. Typically, it's going to be me. I don't hide behind an army of people. So that's one-on-one coaching. That's trading psychology mastery audit. We'll diagnose and fix your specific trading issues. We'll help you to be accountable, and we'll systematically work with you to measure your progress. This is all incredibly important because you want these things. So on top of the one-on-one sessions, you also get group sessions Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for 12 weeks. On Monday, we talk about trading psychology. On Wednesday, we talk about trading systems. So all of the stuff that you should do in terms of entries, exits, charts, those sorts of things to help you have an optimized trading system. And then on Friday, our resident psychologist, Dr. Sandra, comes in and she does group emotional clearing sessions. That's probably everyone's favorite session. Dr. Sandra is amazing at what she does. She does it for Raytheon and other parts of the military, but I've taught her how to trade. And so she understands that there are specific things going on with traders. And she's created a custom protocol specifically for traders. It's everyone's favorite session, much to my chagrin, because I try really hard on Monday and Wednesday. And then finally, you get lifetime access to our $1 Million Funded Account setups, all of your group and one-on-one calls, your private inner circle group, your private Discord channel, and your full library of behavior change protocols. Our actual guarantee, and I'm out of time, so let me just go ahead and do this now. If you haven't secured $1 million in funded trading accounts and made it to your first payout by the end of our formal program, we will continue to work with you for free, okay, until that goal is hit. So our commitment is to help you to get to where you're trying to go. You will quit before we quit on you. And you can, again, you can't see because we can only do questions for folks in the chat, but like if you heard from some of the folks that are in our group, you would understand. I'm reaching out to them all the time, like, hey, I haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks. What the heck is going on? So like, I'm really working to help you to get to where you're trying to go. If you want to get started, the link here is at the bottom. I will also drop this link for you in the chat right now, tradechology.co/trade corners. Traders Corner, sorry, if you go to that link, okay, what you will do is it will tell you a little bit about our program in terms of what's there. You fill out that application. If you meet the qualifications, because we don't just work with everybody, for example, we don't work with beginner traders and things like that. If you qualify with the application, we'll meet with you one-on-one just to see what's going on. And then specifically because you've come and we can track it with this Traders Corner event, we're going to offer you a $2,000 discount on our enrollment. So typically it's about $7,000. We're taking $2,000 off for you, so it'll be just about $5,000. And there are payment plans available. You can do a full payment, you can do 2 payments, or you can do 4 payments. And all the payments are 30 days apart. So, and there's no like, I'm not charging you extra because you're doing 4. So it's like, you know, $1,250, $2,500, and $5,000, just so you have that sort of thing to be able to go to that link, tradechology.com/Traders Corner. And then just last thing I will say, because I don't have time to go into the case studies, but every trader that signs up, okay, and attends the one-on-one workshop, meaning that you sign up for the one-on-one workshop and you show up, I'll give you our overtrading workshop that we sell every day on our website for $97. I'll give it to you for free. If you actually join our coaching program, okay, I will give you our RTY and our silver strategy that's proven to pass combines with a 70+% win rate, meaning you can do it on a discretionary basis or as well as on an auto trading basis. They both work very well. So you'll come in, if you don't have a consistent strategy to be able to pass these combines and make consistent money, we provide it for you simply from joining our program. So again, typically I would go into case studies. I'm sorry, I just kind of run out of time, so I won't go into those case studies, but it was just more of me showing you people that are making money being truly successful with our program. So I'll quickly go through them in terms of Patricia and everybody else. And again, our final full satisfaction guarantee will get you to $1 million in funded accounts, or we'll continue to work with you for free. So thank you all so much. Sorry for going about 3 minutes over time, Rob.
Marcus, you are absolutely fine. If I even have stature enough to call you by your first name, I don't know if I've ever been as impressed as the first time I've seen someone's presentation, but where have you been all my life? That was incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested in securing $1 million in funding trading capital, I know I am, and have a professional with step-by-step guidance to manage your finances by a seasoned pro, then you can find Mr. Marcus Howard at Tradechology.com and go there for more information. Marcus, thank you for making such an incredible offer to our audience, and thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, Rob.
I've personally spoken to a few of your members, and they absolutely love and give nothing but positive feedback about the service you provide. Please come back and see us again.
You bet.